Hey, welcome everybody to podcast number 87. If a lot of you didn't know, we did a little live stream earlier today. Please check that out after this podcast. And
it was an hour and a half.
Yeah, true enough. So I'm your host, Kerry Kreitz. We have the regulars, Tim and Dexter Wiseman. And what nickname can we give him this week? Part-timer DB. How's it going, bud?
I'm in. I'm here, boys. Yeah. I think you need to add some hair or some facial hair to my front caricature on that front side there.
I definitely do. I gotta do some adjustments for that.
Can you add some black and gray in there too? It's definitely gray.
Salt and pepper.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's going on, boys? How did it go this afternoon?
It went really good. It was fun. Yeah. We got to watch some matches. We got some bids. Yeah, kind of. We had somebody bidding against themselves for fun. Charles. It was basically like an hour and a half of trash talking people. So
yeah.
Had some merch sales. That's always good.
Yeah, we saw a couple of merch sales. I see everybody's repping their stuff today. I'm wearing the t-shirt right now.
Good.
Dex got a new hat.
Yeah, I went and picked it up on Tuesday when you were having tummy issues.
Yeah, my little belly ache, eh? I thought we had the code here or something. You're not allowed to go cross the line and start talking about stuff, but
there's no code.
Yeah. No code. Everybody wants to hear about colonoscopies and shit like that, or what? Literally. But yeah, we got some merch sales and things are rolling. So we're hoping that people will like them, enjoy them, send us pictures. The hats are going to be the best sellers for sure. Sweatpants, I'm sure you guys are all wearing them right now, are fantastic. Super comfy. I pretty much haven't taken mine off once I get home. So it's hopefully people keep supporting us, keep buying some merch. We'll send some stuff out and get some good feedback. We'll always get some new stuff afterwards too.
For the hat enthusiasts out there, I've got to say, I'm super. So this is the first snapback I've had that's also stretchy. It's like a flex fit and a snapback all in one, and it is one of the most comfortable hats I've ever had.
It is. Yeah. The flex fit 110 snapback is. I mean, that's the idea of it, is that you can adjust it into lots of different ways. For right now, we just got a couple of colorways. Those are the top sellers, right? So we wanted to design them properly for people. The puff embroidery on the front of that hat. It's pretty dialed in.
It's super cool.
Dirty, you already got the hat dirty.
I went to work today.
Yeah,
used hat.
Did you notice that for those guys out there, do you keep the sticker on or you keep the sticker off? I mean, what age did you take it off? Right. So
with ball caps, I'll take off the top one, but I will leave the little baseball hologram one. I'll leave that one.
Okay. MLB hologram.
Yeah. All right.
Gotta make sure it's authentic, right?
How about trick shots though, guys? You did quite the trick shot, double flying eagle over the week. Pretty busy times at the lanes to be working on that. And only took you 3 days?
118 shots is what it worked out to be. But yeah, it was 2 days, and but a lot of it was just finding the right placement for the pins and finding the right line.
Yeah.
And the thing about the double eagle is the regular flying eagle, you have a little bit of room for error because you've got, 3 times the size of that pin of room for error for that ball to deflect into on the left 2 pin. You don't have that on the double. It has to be exactly right on the first one and exactly right on the other pin. That took a lot.
Did Tim have to reset them up every time, or did you take turns?
He did it for half of the first day and half of the second day.
I hate being pin bitch. There's something that I just hate in my MO, and that's.
Did you get Wendy or Scott going down there and resetting, or did you do it yourself?
Wendy be perfect height, but I just that's not my MO.
When he wasn't, I was just walking out, throw my ball, walk out, set him up, come back, set him up, go back and forth. So and in all fairness, I did offer Tim. I asked him if he wanted to throw some, and he was just an outright no, immediately. No. All right.
Come up with your own trick shot, Tim, that you're going to get to master, I guess, hey?
Well, I actually have trick shots that are done, but it's just TikTok seems like I don't know. I have some trick shots in there, but Dexter hasn't put them up there yet. So that's just
Which ones?
Yeah, TikTok has better ratings for Dexter.
I mean, Dexter has a sex appeal, right? So, but I mean, but
Yeah.
I mean, ball fluff, you guys are in. But I mean, what I'm saying is like.
But with that definition, you should be super sexy. So I mean, I don't get it.
All I'm thinking is, well, I don't want to bring it up because I mean, obviously, it's for the public to find out later, right? So it's.
Right.
Oh,
Let's move on, right, Carrie?
Man.
This is getting away from us before we even get our special guest on.
It seems like an hour and a half ago. Yeah, hour and a half when we talked about it during earlier. Yeah.
So people, if you do get some merch off the website from store.5pinuniverse.ca, there is some discount codes, and the way you get those discount codes is becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/5pinuniverse and support us doing this weekly content. So what we'll do is we'll bring in our weekly sponsor. Once again, is All-Star Bowling Sales. We'll run their commercial, and then we'll bring our special guest for number 87 of the podcast. All right. So as we bring in this special guest, if people don't know about him, he's been part of bowling for probably longer than a lot of the competitive bowlers on tour or part of the Open and all that stuff have been alive. He has been president of Bowl Canada. He's current president of the Bowl Northern Ontario, and he's been on provincial and national boards for over 40 years. And he's a proprietor of multiple bowling centers. Mr. Arnie Rollins.
Yes.
Wow, Mister. Did I do something wrong to you?
Oh, never.
Yeah. Just know how to pay the respects for sure.
Well, thank you, but Arnie's fine.
Will do, Arnie.
Well, we're
Arnie
super
was
glad
getting
to
lots
have
of
you
love.
on, Arnie.
I'm glad to be here. I haven't got to listen to a lot, but I've listened to a few. I was listening to, like Glenn Howell and Tom Patterson and Martin and a couple others, but it's very interesting. I have enjoyed listening. I like to hear people talk about bowling because bowling has been my life basically. So I don't know of anything else I'd rather talk about. So, good to be here.
Absolutely. Did you watch the opening at all? Or were you still sitting up when we were bantering back and forth?
I was listening a bit. I did lose some because I tried to go on my laptop, but laptop I had just all nice and big, but I had no voice. So we're back on the iPad.
That's good. That's good. We were chatting a little bit about the trick shots out there. How do you feel about the trick shots, Arnie?
I think you already know.
That was a setup. Sounds like it.
I think it's wonderful on your lanes.
That's fair.
Totally fair.
Answer.
Totally fair.
Yeah. You don't want any flying pins going on over there.
No, he did
chairs
not
in the way. We see the first one to give you a call and say, "What are you doing?"
I'm on wooden lanes still, so I'm old school. I love the wooden lanes, and I keep them as best as we can so that we can keep them.
Totally.
I realize it's it's better for a proprietor probably if he has the synthetic because it's a lot less work.
Yeah.
Every year I have work to do at my lanes.
It broke our hearts having to go away from it, but we were at end of life with those lanes. We couldn't do it anymore, and so I mean, at that point, there's just no point, even financially, to put wood back in. I miss playing on wood. I miss having the wood lanes. But you're right. It's way less work, and it's way more, inducive to the open play side of things. And I tell you, I
Trick
was at the
shot.
point where I was doing ad trick shots. Absolutely. I was having to fix boards and almost, once a week, twice a week. And I'm certainly glad we have the synthetics from the proprietor side, but I sure miss playing on it.
When I get old, I'll switch over to synthetic.
All right. I'll hold you to that.
What is is it normally a 3-year sanding cycle, or do you have to do them every year, Arnie, or how do you keep them long lasting?
Okay, originally we would pull a coat, like just base coat, pull a coat every summer, like cleanup, we called it. And we'd go probably the third year we would have to do a deep sand. But then they came up with these lane guards, which I don't think you have any in the West. I thought I heard maybe Scottsdale. Did
We
he
used
put
to
in
have
lane
them.
guards?
Like halfway
Yeah,
down lane guards? Yeah.
Yeah, like right at the arrows, see?
Yeah.
And to keep people throwing under them. If they throw over them, well, sometimes I'm nice and give them a second chance, but normally I'm not. If they throw over it, I'll say, you're finished bowling for the day. But so now the lanes, actually, we can go 5-6 years, which saves a lot. But you're like you said there, you still have to do work every summer. There's some boards that you got to work on. There's always something with the wooden lanes. So there's no doubt synthetic is more proprietor friendly.
The lane guards were great. From proprietor side, the lane guards are great. We had them all over Edmonton. Basically, before any center went to synthetics, they all had the lane guards out there, except for maybe I don't think St. Albert has them.
St. Albert never did, and KJ
Yeah, St. Albert doesn't have it. But I remember when I was a pin chaser. No, yeah, I was. I was a pin chaser when they got installed in Sherwood Park. And I remember the first weekend I was working and they were in, and one of the open play guys crushed one. And then another open play guy crushed one. And at that point, it became a game with everybody there. It's like, okay, let's see how far and how hard we can hit these things. Mm-hmm. And that's when I had to go on the mic and was like, okay, next group, I don't care if it's by accident. Anybody else hits those lane guards, you're getting kicked out. See you later. But you're absolutely right. It definitely added 2 years to a sanding cycle. And a sanding cycle is, $30,000 at a pop. Synthetic at that point made so much more sense.
What was the rule of why did you actually have to have lane guards? Was there an actual rule like you had to have them, or was it really just to protect the lanes?
Yeah.
No, there's no rule you had to have them. They were there just to keep people rolling the ball underneath that area. The first 16 feet is all hardwood, right? So it's not a problem if people throw the ball out 8 feet or 10 feet. It doesn't hurt the wood. But once you go by the splice in the wood, then you're into a softwood. So every time a ball hits out there, it leaves a little dent.
Yeah.
So that was the reason for the lane guards. And they did their job. They still do. I still have them.
Totally. Yeah,
Right.
Loved having them in there. We only ever had one explode on us, and that was hilarious. that's about it.
A piece of glass.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
Did you use Lexan?
Yeah.
And you had one shatter? Wow.
Yeah. But in all fairness, Artie, that was probably 10 years of having them in, and we have 16 lanes. Having one shatter in 10 years is pretty good. Yeah.
I could say I haven't had one shatter in. I'm trying to remember when we put them in. Probably, oh boy, back in the 90s, I think we put them in.
Wow.
We never had one shatter. But
that's
they
awesome.
Go flying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But make a good noise too when that happens.
when we first put them in at Western Lanes, they weren't a Lexan yet. They were, I forget what they were. They exploded. Every time they were hit, they blew up. And then we got them switched over.
Plexiglass.
Yeah.
Some people tried plexiglass and take 3 or 4 hits, but eventually just gone.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah.
Cherry, but the problem was that Robert was in charge, right? So I mean that's the biggest problem out there. Gallagher was there, so
I don't think that
Yeah.
affects the glass, but
no the decision
does
making.
does Stetler still have loft guards? I think they do, don't they? Because they're only half synthetics, right?
No, I don't think they'll have
Yeah, they are half synthetics, but I don't think that they have the lane guards.
Tim just
remember.
wanted to dig on Robert there. That's all.
Yeah.
Hopefully Robert's watching. He can let us know.
Yeah.
Jamie Newton's here with Rossdale saying maple on the front end, spliced with pine at the arrows, and then back to maple at the deck.
Yeah,
That's
maple
correct.
for approaches.
Yeah.
AJ.
Yes.
AJ says, yeah, they still have loft guards.
Now,
There you
what I mean, while we're on this, percentage of bowling centers across Canada are, say, synthetic versus wood. Is there
That-
a stat out there, Arnie? I mean, is that something? I don't know.
That's a good question. I would imagine that I may be wrong on this, but I think most of the larger centers have all switched over to synthetic. Some of the smaller centers is where they probably are, like our case where it's family run. The outlay to change over is just hasn't been there to do it, is what it probably
Right.
is. I wouldn't do it in my house. I got all kinds of wood left.
go. Mhm.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
some houses, like you say, when you get down to a certain amount of wood, you don't have much choice. You're not going to put in more wooden lanes. You're going to
No.
put the synthetic in.
It'd be an interesting survey to throw out, maybe Bull Canada or somewhere down, just who still has wood lanes versus synthetic. And then even on the wood lanes is how many years do you have left, and just see if there's some stats and some data on who's using what, and free fall versus string versus convertibles, right? I mean, there's very few free falls left, I think.
Yeah, there's
I don't know.
very many.
I don't think I know a center anymore that has free fall.
I think C4 does in Scarborough. I think that's the only one I think I know.
And Kenny Wilson Center that he just sold has two.
Yeah, he has
He has
two lanes.
two lanes of free fall.
Oh,
Is
wow.
that
Okay.
is that actually sold now?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
It is sold officially, yeah.
I don't know.
He posted on the paper.
Oh, okay, then yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
So is this a good time for a commercial? Like, I'm thinking that, of course, I'm keeping my eyes open and ears open. If there's any synthetic lanes that come available, give me a call.
Yeah, there you go.
Putting the word
Absolutely,
out.
Yeah. Now,
Totally.
Arnie, your whitewater lanes just outside of Sudbury, Azilda, right?
Right?
And what's
That's what
COVID rules, or where are you at right now with the lockdowns or shutdowns? Are you open? Are you where are you at?
we just opened Tuesday again. We've been shut down since December 26th. And we opened Tuesday. All the COVID things we got to do when you come in, you got to sign in. Everybody has to, we have to keep track of everybody coming in the building. We have they have to sanitize, use the, on their hands, they have to use the stuff in their hands, sanitize on their hands.
Yeah.
They have to have a mask on. They have to wear their mask till they're down on their lanes.
Yeah.
We're allowed, once they're down on their lanes, they can take the mask off. We have our lanes completely, I have 18 feet of shower curtains. Some people use welding curtains, but they're way too expensive. So we actually have 18 feet of shower curtains that go to the back of the seats, right up on the lane, on between every set of lanes. And we're only allowed to use every second lane. Like one night we'll use 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. The other night we'll use 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 type of thing, 12. So we have 6 people, but it's only, you're not bowling against any other team, just your team. The other team is over on the next lane. So
On 2 lanes over. Yeah.
Yeah. We have tables at the back. We have one table behind every set of lanes that's big enough for the team. So the team can put their mask on and go out and go back and sit at the table. if they're eating or drinking and sitting at the table, they can take their mask off. But as soon as they get up from the table and to go anywhere or to go to the counter, washroom, anywhere, they got to have their mask on.
So have you
And
started
of
running
course,
leagues again?
Our league started last night.
Okay.
Yeah. We also, in fact, my bowlers are joking with me that our bowling center is cleaner than their houses are. Because they're sanitizing the balls, they're sanitizing everything. Every time that somebody leaves, you got to sanitize that lane. And before they come in, we're sanitizing everything during the day. So
Totally.
There's no household rule for your bowling center. Like the lane has to be all from one household, obviously.
if we do open play, we have that rule. Yes, you have to have. You can only have your own household on the lane, and it's the same thing. I can only use half my lane, so I'm at half capacity. But definitely, we're having trouble. People want to do birthday parties, and I tried a couple, but it was really hard because the kids don't want to stay a lane away from the other kids. You know what I mean? Like put 1-on-1, 1-on-3. Well, they're running back and forth through the curtains. So we hardly have any birthday parties because unless they're very small, it's just not feasible. Unfortunately, because that's one of our big items is we do a lot of birthday parties. You normally,
especially this time of the year and corporate parties and all those fun things. That's
tons of money on Christmas parties.
Speaking of like birthday parties and like restrictions and stuff, just kind of a funny little story from a week and a half ago. I'm at the bowling center, just putzing around, doing whatever there, and I look out our front windows and there's an RCMP vehicle parked out front, and I was like, okay, well this is odd. Like, are they coming in to check on us? Like, what's going on? So I put my mask on or whatever, and the RCMP officer comes in, and he's like, "Are you guys open?" And I'm like. No, we haven't been open since December 13th. Again, kind of thinking that he's checking up on us, right? And he's like, "Oh, it's my 6-year-old's birthday coming up on Monday, and we just I'm trying to find some place to take him, and I really wanted to take him bowling. Do you know of anywhere that we can take a 6-year-old for a birthday party right now?" Absolutely the nicest RCMP officer. He was just just desperately trying to find something for his son, and I'm like, sorry, buddy.
Sure, if you don't arrest us.
Exactly. But is that like him just like roping me in to try to tell him?
We do them all the time, for sure.
We've got 4
parties in here right now.
Exactly. But I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. Nicest guy ever. But it was super funny that a peace officer came in and asked if we were open.
Yeah.
Brett Hendrickson has a question here about us in Alberta when we're looking at we're opening. Tim, you're saying it's something like March 22nd at the moment. It's looking like.
Well, they say adult leagues March 22nd,
and indoor socialization.
Yeah, we don't know about stage 2. What stage 2 entails? Maybe they might open us up a little bit. We don't know, right? So, but definitely March 22nd if everything goes well.
They sped some things up here just recently by having some team sports or youth sports up to 10 rather than 1v1. So hopefully maybe some of these things will open up a little bit quicker. I mean, you can't get your hopes up, but yeah. Worst case is maybe another month.
Yeah, as long as these numbers stay the way they are. I mean, so far the numbers have been pretty good. So hopefully March 22nd, it'd be nice to... Without the indoor socialization, it's really tough. So, but I mean, that'll be nice. March 22nd, if it does stay this way, we'd be able to start leagues again too, which would be awesome.
So question for Arnie. Go ahead.
Yep.
Question was, sorry, Dex, I know I cut you off there. Was leagues, are you going to keep open into, longer season, into April, into May, into June? Same with, you at Sherwood Bowl, guys. Are you guys thinking that as well?
For me, I bowled a summer league 1 year, and I used to bowl 5 times a week before I became a proprietor. And I bowled a summer league 1 year, and when it came to September, I wasn't anxious to bowl. So I have, for me, I don't want to push it. I'm going to go into the second week of May. I'm going to stay away from the long weekend. And my bowlers, nobody's complained. So we're actually going to lose. We take 2 weeks off at Christmas, and then we lost 6 weeks. So in reality, we're going to end up losing 5 weeks this year, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not great. I say it isn't bad, but remember, we're only at half capacity too.
Yeah.
Our seniors, there's 2 of our leagues, a 12-team league and an 8-team league that are club, like a Club of Q and a Club 50, and they both closed down. They closed down their buildings and everything. So we don't have those leagues. We managed to bring a few people in each time slot, but we're probably down 15, 16 teams as far as seniors are concerned. They just didn't want to take a chance. Yeah. They quit last year. They quit last year in March when all this, well, it started earlier, but in March when I was getting into it, they all just said, sorry, we're just not going to bowl anymore for now.
And we saw that sort of at the end of last year too. I mean, our seniors leagues definitely dwindled coming down the final days before we were locked down too. But this year, our seniors have been, honestly, we found the absolute opposite. Our seniors really, really wanted to play, and they really didn't want to quit at the end of it. It took a little bit. Some of them joined late. They needed to get their feet wet with it, and that's totally fair. And I totally understand the risk behind it. But yeah, when we got shut down again, or when we were told we weren't allowed to have leagues anymore, the seniors were the ones that really wanted to keep coming. And it's their only social outing, right? And that's just as important, for sure.
So we sort of talked about it today at work. I mean, obviously we're going to have more discussions. We'll probably send a survey out to our leagues. Like as I sent out our email today. But I think for us, we're thinking May long around that time frame is real kind of the time point where I think if you go past it, it's real tough. I know some centers like Bonnie and St. Albert are talking about end of June. Like St. Albert's really trying to push the end of June, and I think that's going to be a real tough point. But I still think if you're out there thinking about it, if there's this summer league, you know what, you can probably run a couple summer leagues for June and July, and get people interested for it. It's probably the first year you can probably run a small YBC youth league. There are probably people itching to do that. So there are some other things you can go around it. And then, you know what, August can be a little bit of a regroup and build up for the fall season, and we'll go from there. But I think it's going to be real tough extending the season completely to make up all your weeks lost, just because it's impossible to do it that way, right? So, but it is what it is. I mean, obviously it's a second go around, and in a month's time, maybe a year, we've been dealing with all of this. So it's going to be an old hat by the end of the time if everything goes all around. So it is what it is. Yeah.
It'd just be nice that maybe some centers that if you can stay a little bit longer. I like that idea of May long weekend. I never really thought about that, but there's some opportunity to recoup revenue up until that time, and then you get your breaks. And like you said, Tim, you do your summer leagues. But me, I would definitely support coming and playing up until May long. Then you probably do get into camping season, you get into ball season, you get into some of those other things. So then it's maybe a player's choice type of thing.
Yeah.
But centers across the country got to be a little bit more creative on how they're going to be able to, recoup some of that revenue, and hopefully their patrons and bowlers will be able to support them and come and spend some money at the much needed centers to keep them going, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Should we chat some bowling with Arnie? Arnie, let's go back to some old days. We're gonna wind the clock back a little bit on you.
Okay. Sounds
so
good.
If we may, where did you start? 5-pin bowling. Was it? Were you right next to Tommy Ryan, and the two of you had a tin bag?
You know what? I don't like to say this, but if I find out that's an insult, you're in trouble.
I've been thinking about that one for a week, buddy.
Actually, I started bowling when I started spotting pins. for 5 cents a game to start. And then I got a big raise to 7 cents. So whenever there was nobody in the bowling center, I'd spot the 4 lanes and I'd bowl. And finally, I started bowling actually in the league by accident because all my brothers were pretty good bowlers, and they needed a bowler desperately and couldn't find one, so they told me I'm bowling. So at 11 years old, I started bowling in the men's league. Not the best way to start, I'm going to be honest, because you learn. Yeah, I think it'd be much better in a YBC program. You might not learn quite the same language.
yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So has bowling been a big part of your family since you were a kid as well? Like, were your parents bowlers?
No, my parents never did anything. Those days they worked and that was it. My brothers and sisters were very athletic and into bowling and into sports and everything. And that's, like I say, I got into it at 11, and I was around that. I just started that year doing pin spotting too. And I loved it. I loved the game. In fact, when I met my wife and I was 16, I think about the 3rd or 4th date we had, I told her that I was going to own my own bowling center when I went on with life, that I was definitely going to have my own bowling center. Mm-hmm. And when I was 26? Yeah, 26, we bought our first center and been in the business ever since. So
it's amazing.
Do you happen to own that same center that you bought when you were that age?
No, that's the only one. I bought one in Dryden. It's a 14-lane center with a nice restaurant, a 100-seat restaurant, and of course a good bar. And then the one down the road in Fort Francis, the lady who owned it took it back from the people that were there and told me she was going to make a warehouse out of it. And that's one thing I did with my heart rather than use my head, because it's far away, a couple hours further from Dryden. But I ended up buying it, and I've had it now since 2002. So over 18 years, I've been trying to sell it for the last 2 or 3 years, and I just haven't had any success yet. At my age, I really don't want to. I'm back in Sudbury now because I bought the Whitewater down here. Because my son started to take over Timber Lanes when my wife passed away in 2013. That season, he took over for me because I wasn't interested in doing anything at the time. And then the next year, 2014, I said, well, I'm missing the game. I love the game. I shouldn't say I was still there. I was at the bowling center. I just didn't do anything except talk. Now, mind you, I do a lot of that anyways. Now, Whitewater I bought because I knew there was 2 centers within about 6 kilometers of each other. And a friend of mine, Claude Riom, was selling his center as a medical center. So I said, if I buy a Zelda 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers down the road is Chelmsford, I'm going to have both centers in the one. So it was a good business decision. And that's where I'm at now. And my son still runs Timber Lanes in Dryden.
Didn't we see somebody play the 5-pin U gamer or the 8 gamer out of Timber Lanes?
There's quite a few, actually.
There was a few from Timber Lanes. I had about 7 or 8 that said they wanted to bowl and they were going to bowl. They're all very busy people, and they were going to bowl between Christmas and New Year's. I'd set up a couple days for them.
Yeah.
But then we got closed down on the 26th, so they never got a chance to bowl.
Right.
I think I had 1 or 2 people bowl from our house bowl in the tournament, but I was disappointed because I've got a lot of good bowlers, and I think they would have really enjoyed doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. I can't wait for all the merchandise sales everybody's going to keep buying so that 5-pin U can go on the road and go like live on location at Whitewater Lanes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? People, help us out. If you want us to come to your hometown and make insults, all you need to do is buy a few hats.
Buy a couple hats.
Yep. We've had Sherwood Bowl at our bowling center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went there for the IPC.
Yeah. You guys,
We
it
loved
was
it out there.
awesome, and our kids, everybody was excited about going back until they start raising money. Then all of a sudden, the parents sort of lost interest. They didn't want to do it.
Oh, that's right. That's where you
Yeah.
did the youth,
And-
the travel, the back and
Right.
forth, right? Scott
Yeah.
Boyle, does that sound right?
He
Right,
even
yeah.
brought that guy that thinks he's a bowler from out there. What's his name? Adam Weber.
Yeah, Adam Weber went out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit of humor, Adam. I'm just kidding.
Oh no, yeah. Don't
Totally
apologize,
fair.
Arnie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to when you were younger, I'm gonna get into some tournaments and some of those. We'll do some bowling stuff, and then we'll maybe move into some of the masters and more proprietor stuff. But as a bowler, competitively, how'd that go when you were younger? Did you play in some of these? Was there cash tournaments, or just the Open? Yeah.
The only cash tournament we bowled in was down at the O'Connor Open in Toronto, and we did that almost every year. In fact, I'll tell you a little story. He organized the what did he call it? The O'Connor Invitational. It was a big tournament. He was giving out $10,000. John Martin was the proprietor. He giving out 10 grand. They had 2 shifts of 24 lanes, 5 in a lane. Anyways, we were down at the O'Connor Open, and my buddy who had got an invitation said, this young guy would love to come to your tournament. Well, John Martin's answer was, we just don't let any ham and egger into this event. That's what he said, right to me. Anyways, I guess he didn't get enough entries because he sent me an entry about 2 weeks later. I went down, I bowled really well. I remember it very well because I bowled with Morissette. Remember I don't know, you guys probably wouldn't remember Morissette was on TV for 18 weeks. Guy that threw the ball back.
Randy Morissette? Right? No, not Randy Morissette.
Not Randy.
No, from Quebec.
Andre?
From Quebec, yeah. Andre, yes.
Yeah. But unfortunately for him, the lanes weren't dressed for his ball at the O'Connor, right? So like I was come home and I told everybody, he was on TV 18 weeks and I buried him. But obviously the lanes weren't done to that kind of ball, right? But it was fun. I enjoyed all those tournaments. Made a little bit of money. We used to do the Plaza Open in Sudbury, and it was another tournament. There was a cash tournament. I made more money in that on the Calcuttas than I made on the my actual bowling.
What's a Calcutta?
So if you're trying to get me to say I was a great bowler, I wasn't. I was a pretty decent bowler. I was a pretty decent bowler, but never one of the top bowlers.
Right, but you did. We did do a little bit of a bio with you, Ernie, and you did say you've been to the Open Nationals a handful of times. Was the format still the same then? Was with 5 players with 2 subs or 1 sub and a coach, or how did that go? Yeah,
basically the same thing. Like I loved the Open tournament. I bowled in it probably for more than 30 years, more than that. I haven't bowled much in it since the last time was about 2004, I think was the last time I bowled in the Open. I did coach in the Open a couple of times after that. And I don't know if you people would know Pat McNamara at all. He used to be the president of the Northern Ontario 5-Pin Association.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
My last national before 2009 was 1986 in Vancouver, Expo 86, I think it was.
Yeah.
Well, they gave us a free day and they gave us a free ticket to go to it.
Fun.
Well, I'm a small town person that doesn't like crowds. And I was listening every morning, and there's 140,000 people, 150,000 people, 160,000. I gave my ticket away, and I rented the car, and I had a brother that lived in Chilliwack. I drove out to see him. And that night I drove over to the Expo 86, and I walked up on the bridge, watched the fireworks. I saw all of Expo '86 from up there and never stood in line. So to me, that was a win-win. Yeah.
That, and you saw everything you needed to see just by the globe and the fireworks.
I could see everything, and I enjoyed the fireworks, so that was good for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you had. What about the Masters? You played in that a number of times too. Now, were you always Northern Ontario part of that, or
No,
was there at one point in time was Ontario one province?
We started when I started bowling in the Open. We would qualify in Sudbury area as a zone, and we would go down south and be. Well, I think there was 24 zones at that time, altogether counting us, and bowl against them. So very few times. I don't know if ever one of our teams winning. We had a couple singles win. Frank Gramolini won, and he ended up winning the Canadian Championship. We had a couple other ones, like Ron Stansfield from Dryden won the Canadians, but they were Thunder Bay and Sunset Country. That area was Northern Ontario at that time. Just recall that. I remember Mono Toss. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was one of our better bowlers in Northern Ontario. He went to the Nationals as a single from all Ontario, and he got there and he's bowling this Italian guy from Atikokan. And he said, well, where are you from? And he said, I'm from Northern Ontario. And I can't use the language Mono used, but basically he told him, no, I'm from Northern Ontario. And that's when he found out that Thunder Bay and that end was Northern Ontario at that time.
Right.
So it switched over in 1979 is when Northern Ontario Bowlers Association became a province. Okay, and from then on, it was a little different. We got to win in our provincials and only against 6 zones, so our total, it was a lot easier to win than go down south because they got tons of good bowlers. We have some good bowlers, but you know what? The numbers are far outweigh ours, right?
Totally.
So, anyways, that's it. That's way. And then, of course, the proprietor switched over about a couple of years later. We took our proprietors association. I don't remember as president then or if I was vice president, but we went down to the south and broke away from the proprietors and opened up our own Northern Ontario proprietors. The Masters, 1986, was the first year that we had Northern Ontario Masters. Before that, we were part of Southern Ontario. I know I bowled in the tournament division in the South for a few years. You had to maintain a 240 average or they threw you out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you didn't average over 240, you weren't able to go back in the next year. You could, if you bowled a league average over that season, you could apply again. But
in Southern Ontario, yeah, neat.
Yeah,
the travel,
all the
would be
tournaments
crazy.
were. Yeah, it wasn't bad from Sudbury, but I wouldn't when I moved to Dryden, I definitely wouldn't have been traveling. But from Sudbury it was fine. But I'd already left to the Northern Ontario Masters by '86. And speaking of the Masters, I think this is I don't know if it even counts. It's 47 or 48 years now I've been in the Masters too, so about the same.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't
I love
Alberta
it. I love bowling with the kids. That's my favorite thing.
right.
But
I was just going to remark, you were talking about the 240 average. I think Alberta had a 235 cut at one point, did it not, for its Masters division?
It still exists, but it's not a hard number. Like we're not. It's not a number where we just automatically kick people out for it. It's there. It's there as a guideline. I mean, if you've never averaged over 235, then we're probably not going to let you bowl tournament Masters. But I mean, if you average 250 and then you go play somewhere hard and you average under 230 for the year, it is what it is. But
yeah, let's be fair. Are we really throwing away $200 because the person averaged 232? Like,
well,
yeah.
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 See, the problem was the number of bowlers. There was over 200 bowlers in the Masters at that time in the tournament division,
Yeah.
ladies and men. So they had
Wow.
to limit it. That's one of the way they kept the numbers down so they could have a tournament in houses at like 24 lanes. 120 bowlers is at 5 on a lane, and that's pretty hectic.
Just
It
trying
makes
to
for long
find,
days too, for sure.
places. I guess you totally get that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think 200 people just in one division. I mean, we're lucky to get. What is it now, Dexter? 60 in our division now. Like, I mean,
40?
yeah.
At one point, it's probably a
Now,
little bit higher though. A number of years ago, it's gone down a bit now.
It's
I'm
different.
sure they were higher.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely way more bowlers back in the day, and our numbers were definitely way higher, I'm sure. But it is, I don't know, it's weird. Like, Tournament Masters is a super intimidating thing at the moment, and I don't mean for that to be, like, rude to anybody, but, like, we've had the last couple of years last 4 years for Masters, you needed to shoot, almost, 8,800 for your best 4, so you need to average 275 in order to make a team. It's definitely become a daunting task for sure. So I wonder if that's played in at all. Yeah. And the only time that I've ever suggested not playing if you're under a 235 average is like we had one person ask this year, and he's averaged like 210, and he's just out of YBC, and then he got it up to 220. And the only thing is, I don't want him to go into Tournament Masters and be like, hey, like, I'm here, I'm going to compete, and then just get absolutely annihilated. I'd rather he worked his way in and went into like teaching Masters and, kind of got his feet wet and grew a little bit. The last thing I want to do is discourage or have people feel discouraged by going into it.
So we're seeing tons of comments here from people in their Masters qualifying. Manitoba looks like had some huge numbers. Southern Ontario had some huge numbers. Do we ever see that again with Masters or with the sport of those? Or is it just sort of one of those things? It's just not going to happen that way anymore. I mean, the numbers overall are down. So that's just a product of what we're in.
Yeah, I think it's just a product of the sport being down numbers, right? It's not that specific association. It's across the board from what I can see.
Right.
Well, I think I don't know if we're the only province still, Northern Ontario, that does it, but I have usually around 10 to 12 Masters in my bowling center, and I have to sign their sheet in order for them to take part.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I know there's some really good bowlers that are fabulous bowlers that I would not sign a sheet for because I don't want people to say that he's from Arnie's. I'm not knocking them.
Right.
Some people just have different ways about them, and so that probably keeps the numbers down a little bit in Northern Ontario.
Yeah, Alberta has the same rule too.
I see Brett's corrected me that those weren't actual entry numbers; those were average numbers. But I think this argument still probably applies that the number of entries aren't as high as it used to be. But
I wouldn't believe a word that Brett's saying right now.
Yeah,
Have you seen the other comments he's got up
It
there?
was Tim Hooper actually said it, though.
He's been indulging in something.
Brett, so.
Just lay off the sauce.
Yeah. Funny.
Yeah. Just so you know, I don't even have a beer or anything around me. I said I would.
It looks like I'm the only one drinking on podcast.
I have my water.
I've had tummy issues, so I'm just having water.
That's right.
Actually, since this last 7 weeks or so of lockdown, I did good 5 months, 6 months last year, but this last 5-6 weeks, I don't know why, but my stomach has changed shape even more than it was. And round is the shape, guys. So you get my feeling.
Yeah.
Well, that's the hard part is we're locked down, the bowling center's shut down, and they close all the gyms too, so you can't even go do that. I don't know. And then it turns to -25. You can't go outside.
And then the 5-pin U starts selling sweatpants. Like, you're just going to lean into that life.
Exactly.
Just going to lean into that life next, right?
That
Yeah.
life.
Funny.
By the way, I get up every morning about 8 and I think about going to the gym, and then I think better of it.
Yeah. And then the snooze button comes. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I don't know if you've been seeing any of the comments here, Arnie, but like, man, the amount of love that you're getting out there is crazy. One of the questions up there was from Tom England is, how do you keep the passion? How have you kept your passion for the game for as long as you have?
I've always had it. I think it comes from, this game isn't easy all the time. And I mean, this bowling centers are not easy all the time. You get down and you start thinking, and then you say, hey, get off your ass and work and get at it, and you'll be okay. And that's basically been my philosophy. Just keep working at it. Look after the people. Treat them right. They'll be back. And that's basically what I try and do. That's all.
And you're such a people person too, right? So, I mean, having a bowling center, that's the best part of it, is you get to see all these people every week. And that's a huge
you get
part
to
of
talk
it.
every day.
Exactly. Absolutely.
It's not me running away from the bowlers. It's them running away from me sometimes.
Yeah, let me go bowl already, man. Quit talking.
My seniors, every Christmas, they keep telling me, please don't tell us that Santa Claus joke again. We've heard it 20 times. We don't want to hear it anymore. I said, I forgot I told you it last year.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to hear it right now.
You sure? It's not dirty.
All right.
You sure now?
That's fair.
We're allowed to tell jokes here?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And they don't have to be clean either.
Oh, it is clean. Hey, Santa Claus go down the chimney one night, and he's putting the toys around the tree, and this beautiful young lady come out in this gorgeous negligee and says, Santa, would you like to stay and play and have some fun? And he looks at her and he says, ho, ho, hey, 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 gotta be up the chimney and be on my way. The little kids need toys to play. So she takes off the over part of the negligee, and she's standing there in this little wee bikini type of negligee, and she says, Santa, are you sure you wouldn't want to stay and play and have some fun? Ho, 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 hey, 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 you gotta be up the chimney and be on my way. The little kids need toys to play. Then finally she looks at him, she takes everything off, and she's standing there, and I never saw a centerfold of Playboy, but you guys probably have, so that's what it looks like, okay? And she says, Santa, are you sure you don't want to stay and play? And he says, ho, 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 hey, 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 gotta stay. Can't get back up the chimney this way.
That's good.
That's gonna hurt.
Anyway.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I did get a question for you, Arnie, before the podcast. 50 years as proprietor, so almost 50 years, right? Since 1973.
Yep.
Do you have any correlation to the Leafs not winning the cup since then? I'm been trying to figure that out.
I know where this came from.
I don't know. Do you have any correlation to that at all? I don't know.
And you gotta look at it one way. I'm old enough. I saw them win the cup.
Yeah. Okay.
Some people might never see them win a cup. Still a Leaf fan, no matter what. I love them. I love a couple players like Marner and Matthews and whatever. Hockey's changed so much that it's different. Like, I don't think the Canadian division is. I think it's what they had to do, and I think it's a great idea. But actually, I like the hockey most of the time. Sometimes it's slow, but if you want to watch hitting and dirty play and all kinds of other crap, you watch Boston and there. Watch the other leagues. But that's just my take.
Are you one of those people that truly believes that Matthews is a better player than McDavid? Because I see this stuff all the time. It blows my mind.
Hey, hold it.
Okay.
McDavid
No,
is the
we're still
best
friends.
player. McDavid is the best player in the world. Now, I always said that about Crosby, but I still think Crosby's a fabulous player, but come on, who can catch McDavid? Who can do the things he does? Like if he had a real good team behind him, like it would be ridiculous. Edmonton would be back in the old days, like with Gretzky. No, he's amazing. I can never say anything. I'll never will say anything bad about him. And you know what? Dreisaitl's pretty damn good too.
Brett Hendrickson. I'll side bet you tonight on the game. There's a throw out to him. I'm going to side bet Brett Hendrickson on the Oilers Jets game tonight. Just name your price.
Brett, how much money do you owe me already?
Who was on the Leafs team in '67? Who was the captain? Do you remember some of the players on that team?
The captain of that team was a family friend.
Wow.
George Armstrong, the chief. His mom and dad lived in Falconbridge. My brother worked with his dad. My mother was best friends with his mother. I was actually in the Leaf dressing room because of him. When I was younger, he brought me into the dressing room.
That's awesome.
This is the old Maple Leaf Gardens, eh? So
crazy.
There's another story I could tell you.
Yeah.
You guys like stories? I got a real good story for you.
Okay.
The Montreal and Detroit played a hockey game one night, and when they finished, they had Morse to Rocket Richardi going to pick the 3 stars. So I said, "Okay, Rocket, who do you pick for your first star?" He said, "Oh, Mon Dieu," he says. "My brother Henri," he said. "He sneaked like heck out there. He scored a goal. He got an assist. Fabulous." "Okay, what about your second star, Rocket?" "Well," he said, "my second star, that John Beliveau. Oh, he's so smooth. Just smooth all around the ice. 2 assists tonight." "Okay. What about third star?" He said, "Oh, Jacques Plante in net. He kick him out here. He kick him out there. Just magnificent." "Okay," he said. "Well," he said, "do you have any honorable mention?" "Well," he said, "you know that Howe guy?" He said, "if he hadn't scored those 4 goals, we might have won."
Yeah.
Anyway.
I see that we've got Dave Post out there. Scott Barber's in. Good to see you guys. Dave Post,
my buddy Dave.
Yes.
Yeah, he says, "Be nice, Arnie. You know the love for the Bruins." So yeah, he loves his Bruins. I know that for sure. Dave loves his Bruins. Yeah, he's a Bruins fan. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what? Bowling is a much better sport. I would
yes,
rather talk about bowling. That's what I'm here for, is bowling. I really don't want to talk about.
No, for sure.
I will.
So Arnie, I guess we can talk about too is obviously you've been part of many associations over the years. You said 40 years part of boards. Let's talk about your involvement with Bowl Canada. I know you were president that for 4 years, I believe, right? Or 2 years?
Yeah, that was. I blame that on Manitoba. In '99, I finally was out of being on any board, and my wife and I were gonna have a year where we went to a convention or a meeting, and we didn't have anything to do except other than the regular meetings. And I got to Manitoba for the convention, and the whole Manitoba province basically asked me to run for the national board, that they would be happy to back me. So I said, well, I better talk to my wife about this, because this was not planned. I had no intention. Anyways, I told him okay, because I did win, and I went on the board, and I was on for 10 years. I was president in 7, 8, and 8, 9. I loved it. It's not quite the same now. At that time, we really didn't have a lot of authority. Like, I wasn't Donald Trump, that's for sure. We basically had, basically like we're doing here. We talk about everything. We go back to our provinces, we talk about what we discuss and what we want to do, and then go back to the next year and maybe try and come up with something. Lots of times, some of our great ideas, after we, dissected them, they weren't such great ideas. So it's a good thing in a way that we did that. Nowadays, it's because of the government involvement, and I'm not knocking it. We've got fabulous people on our board, in my mind. And nowadays, we have an executive board that makes all the decisions because we're a not-for-profit organization, right? So, anyways, it hasn't changed much. We still have the same executive director. We have great people. We have, I don't know, you have Ray Britton from BC is fabulous.
Very smart.
Trevor Peters from Manitoba. We have, now I'm going to forget a name here. From Georgian, from, what's
Leanne Hanley. Leanne Hanley.
Leanne. She's a great
Yes.
girl, hard worker. And then got Rod, and I'm missing somebody.
Martin.
I know who I'm missing. I did that on purpose, guys. Martin is my buddy. I love Martin.
Who doesn't like Martin, right?
He's such a great guy, there's another guy that is a proprietor. I think I love bowling in his center just because of him,
Yeah,
I feel that way about a lot of proprietors.
Just one of the nicest, happiest people you'll ever meet. You never see that guy say a mean thing about anybody, really.
Is that Martin you're talking about?
Never have.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. So did you obviously
you got people on there, right? Sorry.
Did you enjoy being president for those years? Sorry, did you enjoy being president for those years? Yeah,
I was very fortunate. We had a really good free game promotion in one of those years. So nothing to do with me. But it just happened when I was there, right? So I loved it. Go ahead. I'm thinking.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, Arnie. No, go ahead.
I'm just. Nowadays is when I don't know if concern's the right word. I just think this is the time when we're really suffering, every one of us, that we should be pulling together. It's very important, I think, that we all work together now because we're all in the same boat. We're all struggling, and if the more we work together, the better off we are because we all have the same thing. We're all there for the love of bowling. So
that's the great thing about this 5-Pin Universe podcast is getting proprietors such as yourself or Robert Gallagher or Martin. Ken Wilson when he was the England's, everybody that is in a different position in the bowling community talking about their story and how it affects them and what can be done to bring all these people together to understand that, it is a business, but it's also a sport, and we need to be able to provide that sport for Canadians to play for the future, right?
We definitely need it as both. We need it definitely. It's got to be a sport. I can. When people ask me why you think bowling is a sport, and I got much better stories about other people than myself as a bowler. But I was fortunate to be on the board, and I sat and watched my son bowl in the CBC television show. I think it was 2001. And fabulous last game. It was just amazing the way it happened. I told a friend of mine that he had won the tournament, and he phones me up in the 8th frame of the game when it's finally on TV, and he says, "I thought you told me he won." And I said, "Well, watch the whole show." It looked like it was over in the 8th frame, but it wasn't. 5-pin bowling, 4 strikes makes a big difference. But he won $27,000. Like, does that sound like that's not a sport? You're making $27,000 in a tournament.
Wow.
Yep.
That's what I said to people. Yeah. We just lost we lost a great proprietor from Newfoundland, Bobby Osborne.
Yeah.
Bobby Orr.
Yeah. We were at a CBC roll-off, and he was there, and Charlie Alexander from my place finished second, and we're sitting having a few pop after all the roll-offs are done, and these couple people weren't bowlers, and they said, "Well, you're talking about bowling, and you said you won $10,000." He said, "Yeah, I came second, and I won $10,000." And Bobby Osborne pipes up. He said, "How? I won $2,500 for being a spectator." Because Bobby, he won. I think he was he was in the semifinals and lost out. So, but yeah, that's not a sport. What is?
Absolutely.
I got clarification on the Scott Barber. He had mentioned something about make sure you turn off your ringer.
I knew he was going to say that.
You know what the story is, Arnie?
I told him it wasn't me. You know the song Shaggy?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I told him it was me, and I never turned the ringer off so fast. But I was watching him, and he personally, I don't think it should have hurt him because he wasn't in the process of delivering the ball. But after he delivered the ball, maybe he should have done it before. I'm just kidding, Scott. I'm not serious.
He was on a four-bagger in TSNs, and your phone, the ringer wasn't turned off, and it rang. The phone rang in the pit, and he had to reset and start over, and then he punched.
That's right.
And he lost to Kevin. So I don't think he was super happy with you on that one.
No, he wasn't, and probably still isn't. I mean, but you know what? I got to be honest. That was my first time I ever had a cell phone.
Yeah. Don't worry, Scott can't hurt. He won't harm a fly. He's one of the nicest guys out there too. No anger in him at all. So
no, I've seen Scott a few times since, and many times, and he's like you say, he's a great guy, good bowler. And I'm kidding when I say that I bugging him.
Yeah, we just turned on some TSN earlier today, and you were in the background there. So yeah.
Well, I think that's how Arnie would have been. The TSNs are coming and watching the guys, and that's who's the guy in the back? Oh, that's Arnie Rollins. Oh, okay.
Listen, I had to work hard to get that hair that white so people could see it, eh? Anybody can have gray hair, but have this white stuff, man, you got to really work at that.
Right. What color was your hair?
Jeez, I can't remember. It's been white as long as I can remember.
That took a minute.
Yeah. Actually, my son, they asked me when I became president, they asked me to send him in a picture. And I asked him to send him one, and he sent me one when I still had color. So they phoned me up and said, "We can't use this." I said, "What do you mean?" So anyways.
Oh, I love it. It's
so hilarious. You want to hilarious. You know how seniors are with bowling. The ones who love it, they watch those CBC shows and TSN shows. We went to a Golden Age National Tournament, and we're going to the banquet after, and this gentleman comes over to me. He said, "Can I buy you a drink?" I said, "No, I'm fine. You don't need to buy me a drink." He said, "I really want to. My wife wants your autograph." From me watching bowling, not bowling, watching. I thought it was hilarious anyways, but I did go give her an autograph, and I did have a drink on him. So we do know seniors watch the TV. You guys don't think that's funny?
We need the bowl.
Hilarious. I don't like to show you this, but when I went home and I told my wife that, you know what she did? She went, like that. But anyways.
So what are you right now as a role? You're president of Northern Ontario Proprietors? What's the...
Yes, bowl Northern Ontario. And I've been that way since I come out of the national board, and the lady who was president asked me to take over for her for a year because she was going to be tied up with something. Well, she was tied up all right. She saw me her center 2 years later, and she never came back. Anyways, the young people nowadays, I don't know. I've got some great people, but they really don't want to get involved with. I keep telling them the president's an easy job. Do the YBC chairman's job, then you got a lot of work to do. But,
I think
so far they
you're
haven't
absolutely
thrown me
right
off.
there. I think you're absolutely
know
right,
I'm
Arnie.
President depends where you're at. Yeah, I disagree, but
Tim looks so triggered over there. No, I think you're right. I really think you're right, Arnie.
yeah, no.
Okay, I won't say anymore.
No, keep going, please.
Do you know what? Honestly, I think oh yeah, that's perfect. Let's interlude into these photos.
Wow. The brown
Now,
curly. Yeah.
Did you get a perm, or were you naturally curly?
Trying to figure out who that is. I should know that person. Oh, you guys are not. You're not. Yeah, that was a long time ago, guys.
Yeah,
you can take it off anytime.
Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, he's out. He's
We lost Arnie.
You guys gonna start showing old photos? I'm out.
Oh, no.
Ninja bomb.
Yeah.
To be fair, he was on an iPad. It might have died. We'll wait for him in the background if he pops back up.
You had some solid photos lined up there.
Yeah. 3 really good ones. But
Yeah.
Arnie got so triggered he left.
Yeah. That is good find.
we want to thank Kathy Davison for finding those for us.
Yes, that was awesome. Honestly, I mean, besides obviously the hair color, he looks pretty much. He doesn't change at all.
Here's Arnie. Yeah.
Here, we got him back.
You guys are okay. You got me. Looking at you, and come on, I don't want to be mean here, but looking at you guys, a couple of you could have used that hair.
Oh yeah,
Couple, I think all of us could have.
Yeah. Fair.
You know-
we all have weaker moments, guys.
I've never had the confidence to have the perm. That's where I'm at, right? So
let's not go into that because I got roped into that. So it's not up for discussion.
My nephew's in grade 9 right now, and they love the perm, the front perm on the front, right? And of course, I'm just trashing him the other day, like, what is this? So sure enough, my mom goes down into her little cave where she finds everything that ever existed and comes up with a grade 9 photo of me. And sure enough, I've got the full-on side part, big perm in front. I'm like, oh, I was hoping that maybe she wouldn't have found it, but sure enough, so yeah.
I actually at the longest time we never took it down from the bowling alley maintenance room, but Daryl had a Sunshine Boy from the Edmonton Sun in there. So we just left it up there for the longest time, and everybody's like, "Who's this old guy in there?" I was like, "Oh, that's Daryl."
Yeah.
Oh, that's the guy who bowls on Sunday. I was like, "Yeah." Oh,
Yeah. Looks much different. Yeah.
There's another thing that's very important, guys. You got to learn that you can laugh at yourself.
Oh yeah.
That's a very good lesson in life. If you can't laugh at yourself, you shouldn't be laughing at anybody else.
In this group, we definitely have to learn it. The group that's going on. There's lots of it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Learn to expect it in the bowling world. That's the great part about it. Everything's jokes. Nobody takes stuff too seriously. Unless there's a little cash involved, then feelings are hurt. But that's way of life.
You can usually move on pretty good.
See, it's so different now, I find. Now, you guys don't sound like you still do some cash. I know you have the tour, but I mean, when I was younger, we used to bowl our leagues, and then we'd pot bowl afterwards. Like, we'd bowl 4 or 5 more games after for money all the time, eh? But I don't find, like, I bowled 5 nights a week before I became a proprietor. Then I became a proprietor, and then I struggled to get in 3 nights.
Totally.
I really struggled to be able to do that. And like I look at my leagues now, and I don't have anybody I think that bowls 3 nights a week. 2 nights a week is probably maximum. Now I'm sure there's some differences some places, and not very many of them come in and practice. Which, speaking of Alberta, I can remember hating you guys. We bowled in.
Has
in
that
the
changed?
Nationals. No, I don't. I like it now. No, I don't mean you particular guys, because you might not even been around. I can remember we bowled in the Nationals Masters in Newfoundland, and the team from Alberta averaged 280 something for the tournament. Like, come on, man. 280 something for the tournament? Like, it's just crazy. And we averaged 280 for one game. We're happier than hell.
I kind of want to segue off of your conversation that of like pot bowling and stuff like that after the leagues and stuff. Where I grew up, Robert Gallagher happened to be the manager of the center, and we didn't have a lot of time when I was younger to play, like you said, multiple nights of the week. So I got all my bowling in as on Monday. So I played Monday YBC, then I played the Monday Scratch League in Wetaskiwin, and then we played a Monday Jackpot League, which was full of pretty much the best players in Wetaskiwin filled that league. And then you played pot bowling after till 2-3 in the morning, and then you had to go to work Tuesday. But Monday was just full of bowling. It was quite the thing. And like you said, a lot of people don't tend to do that anymore. They play 1 or 2 leagues. Mm-hmm. You don't see the 3-4 league players anymore.
Yeah. By the way, Robert is a great guy. There's another proprietor that you'd love to go to his center. Yeah. There's lots of them. I don't really center some out, but I know just when you mentioned it.
On Sunday nights, we were just about to start doing something a little bit different for the quad pot. With the tour finals, the WCBT tour finals obviously was on camera, and a lot of the guys that play in that Sunday night match play league, they're tour players. So we started looking at doing a camera filming the last 2 games. So the top 4 guys or top 3 guys, you'd play. The third place would play. So if everybody puts $5 into the quad pot, the winner of the night of the 4 games, you'd win half of the pot. The other half would go into, we'd do a little film segment. So third would play second, and then second would play first. So you're only staying for 2 extra games, but at least 3 guys then are getting used to playing on camera and getting to play a little bit more under the pressure, under the lights. And you're playing for the extra $40, $60. So it's not big numbers, but a variation of the pot style, and just the practice of playing under the lights, I think and it was unanimous. All 16 guys, they were like, everybody that goes into the pot, we're like, sure, something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I just think back when I was coaching that I've coached quite a bit of times, and I used to always, I'm going back far because we couldn't do it with our iPhones like now or your iPad, but we had to use a movie camera, set it up on lane 12 and let your team bowl. And after bowling, we'd sit down and have a pop and watch on the big TV. We'd watch their bowling.
Awesome.
And they'd look at it and say, hey, you know what you told me I was doing? I was. I said, I told you that 10 times. You never believed me, right? Now you see it on TV. You know that I wasn't BSing, it's amazing. Now, like I say, now it's so easy. Just take your iPhone out and you can show a guy. It's,
and people still don't utilize that nearly as much as they should.
No.
The amount of the visual evidence is the biggest cue for coaching. It's night and day. I remember, even when I was in bowling school, they filmed us, and I got to watch it after I got back from bowling school. And I was on VHS, so I'm dating myself there too. But it was night and day. All of a sudden, I could see what I was doing wrong, and I fixed it instantly. But just being able to see it, right? Because certain things are really hard to feel. Backswing for one of them is one of the hardest things to really feel. and that visual cue is huge.
Yeah. I know my daughter went to bowling school in Thunder Bay when Tom Patterson was there, and I'll tell you,
Hmm.
we really could use more. I know you guys out west have bowling schools. I think they have one in Southern Ontario now, but that is it's an amazing way for the kids to get to move up the ladder. Is the way I look at it. They can be a decent bowler, but you go and listen and follow guidelines, and that it can really take our bowling to a higher level.
Absolutely.
But like you said, Dex, with the iPhone now, it makes it so easy, right? That even if you're in your warm up before league night, set your phone up and film yourself for the first 10 shots, 20 shots, right? And just have a quick look at it before you go and play. You know, when Arnie said there that not a lot of people are practicing anymore. Yeah, why not? Why aren't you practicing? If you want to be at the top of the game, you should be practicing and videoing yourself so you can see it. You know, or
Tyson, like, it's not your backswing you don't have; it's a follow through you don't have. Oh boy, okay.
But Arnie, now, have you guys ever thought about something? What I know, Alberta, we haven't had a bowling school in a few years, and they're talking about revamping it. Something the Federation is throwing around is maybe doing day camps instead of full weekend camp instead. I know that you guys have such a vast territory to cover, and I think that's one of the hugest hurdles out there, right? Maybe
Yes.
if you guys had, and I know you guys have such a great core of players, and maybe and coaches. And I know you have Renee out there, you have Pete Blanchard helping you guys out there, and all that stuff, right?
They're both masters at my house.
Right. So I mean, you have great people out there. Could you do a day camp out there maybe every so often and maybe implement that kind of stuff?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. And
Yeah.
I'm guilty because sometimes when my grandkids live in Dryden, 800 miles away, two of them.
Yeah.
I have a brand new one, two new ones. One's in just outside of Toronto, and the other one is in Ottawa, and 3 months old and 15 months old. And I like to get and go see my grandkids.
I don't blame you.
Really my thing now. I just wanted to tell you one other little thing. I have a philosophy on bowling for myself personally. When I was young, I used to hate bowling because I couldn't watch myself bowl. Now, the thing I love about bowling is that I can't watch myself bowl.
Yeah. Tim was talking about that a little earlier today too. Seeing himself bowl was like not something he hated seeing himself bowl.
I don't watch it. I've watched. I don't think I watched like even the tour final stuff or even the Masters or any of the tour stuff in general. I don't watch it. I just don't like it. Can you start critiquing things?
Every time I see bowling on Facebook or anywhere, I sit and watch that whatever, if it's a one game or two games or a show. I love watching bowl. Now, mind you,
you'll love the Pro League coming out then.
Oh yeah.
Did you turn off my trick shots?
I watched once, then I think
But we've talked a lot about coaches and even video analysis and filming. With this whole 5Pin universe or other coaches, can't you now do a live stream coaching session? I could be sitting here on my couch and watching Dexter throw balls, and having a little coaching session. You don't have to be in the center. So if it's a coach in Dryden watching a player in Whitewater, it's possible now, right? So it's maybe it's just got to be started, and maybe there's an avenue or there's a database of coaches people can pull from, or something that makes it easier accessible for people willing to take the time to do that. Go and set up a camera and go and throw balls for an hour, but Carrie's going to watch you and we're going to film it and we're all going to dissect it here on 5Pin U podcast.
It's actually amazing what we can do now. Like your
totally.
tournament that you guys had, that we haven't had a chance to finish it yet because of this COVID crap. But That's amazing that we're going to have bowlers from all over Canada bowling against each other on video, on TV. We're going to be able to see it. I call it TV. I know it's video, but
Yeah.
we're going to be able to see it, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait till it can be on so I can watch it. I just think it's amazing.
So excited for the fact that we get to highlight people that may not normally get to be highlighted, right? You know, location makes it difficult for people to get out to certain events and stuff, and it's awesome. It's nice to be able to recognize people with great talent that may not normally get that recognition. So, and centers.
It's getting really close too. Speaking on the 8 gamer from 5-Pin Universe, we are literally only one province away from being able to run that event. So once Alberta opens up and we can do this kind of thing, and hopefully Southern Ontario gets into the orange level, we'll be able to run the whole event. So
obviously
that'd be awesome.
Challenges, dealt with some challenges of not being able to play, but the opportunity going forward, it could be twice a year we run two different events, right, in conjunction with all the other WCBT events, the Masters, the Open. I mean, it's going to become a mainstay across the circuit, because that's exactly like you said. You can play against bowlers across the country for a good chunk of change too. It wasn't a lot of money that we were charging or trying to do it to build some money in the pot, and we were 200 entries. What was our number at the end of the day, Kerry?
219, I think.
Right, but all things still open, we would have had a lot more entries. So, going virtual is definitely the future. Obviously, it's not going to replace playing in person, but
229 entries.
229, right? And we weren't even open a lot of places for 3 weeks.
Alberta was only open for a week and a half.
Yeah.
So
wow, amazing.
Some provinces didn't get into the pro team league. Some provinces didn't get even a lot of entries into the 8 gamer. But it's just the first edition, and we're dealing with a lot of challenges and issues, to get it finished here. But we're setting it up so that there's going to be a lot more in the future and into next season, which is exciting for sure.
Yeah, this is the year of figuring everything out. So it might be a good thing that some people didn't get in, because it could be a little bit of frustration moving forward with it. But once we iron out all those kinks and get it all good, then like Daryl said, we could run it several times and hopefully make it a mainstay on the competitive bowler schedule. Like, hey, the 8 gamer is running this month. I'm going to make sure I'm getting my entries in to make that, who knows by then, top 32 or whatever the situation is, right?
Maybe somebody plays 4 games in night in the league and then 4 games afterwards, right?
Yeah.
They get their 8 games.
Exactly.
Sure.
It'd be great to hold an event like this earlier in the season, like maybe just around the end of October, because there isn't very much going on the first couple months of bowling usually. And at least in the East, I don't know. You guys, I'm not sure about your WCB.
Yeah, you gotta come. You gotta come out west. Come on out.
You should. You want me to buy a bowling set? What do you want me to buy a bowling center out there now?
Yeah,
sure.
There's going to be a few up for sale.
You really want to see Robert's place? You can own it.
I heard that, and I feel bad for Robert on that. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, it's sad losing something like that, but there's more things coming down the line, and hopefully, and he's getting some help, and I don't know. Hopefully, we can hang on, but I certainly feel for him. Yeah. And unfortunately, the hard part is like that. That's just the start of the dominoes. You're starting to see it happen all over, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to answer a quick question. All these our Manitoba friends. I know you guys are all a little bit upset you don't have a team pro league or part of the 8 gamer. Unfortunately, your situation better than anybody else. The premier shut down your province, and you weren't allowed to do any of that stuff when we started that up. But trust me, we will be running more events. You can critique us as much as you want for these first events and let us know what we're doing wrong, and hopefully we can fit you in for the next one.
Yeah, and Scotty Barber, Tom Brady still sucks. Okay, so just it's all good.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. So Arnie, we are getting kind of close to the end of this podcast. Is there anything that you, I guess my question to you, you've been a part of the sport for so long. What kind of changes have you seen in the sport, and what do you think is the good changes, and what are some of the changes that you wish never happened to the sport?
I don't believe we should even discuss things that way. I think we should look all on the positives. I think I don't want all bowling centers to become what do they call them, FECs or entertainment centers. I do think that a lot of bowling centers, even some of the smaller ones, are going to get some kind of extras, because the more chance you have of bringing in extra money, so you can keep everything going and run a great center and make your center be presentable and be proud of it, is sometimes you have to do extras. I've seen we've seen everything, haven't we now? Like, look, to me, Nebs is what would I call it? I call it the place to go in Canada. It's our bowling showpiece. It's amazing. I love Tom and Jeff and them. They have bowling out in the forefront all the time. And in my case, it'd be too much for me, but they do a fabulous job. I love the bowling game. I don't mind extras, and I would like to have. I'm looking at putting a few extra things in. It just depends on how much space you have in your center. But what do I see for bowling? I think bowling's still going to be a great sport. I think bowling's going to be a great pastime beside a recreation. I think that we need young people like you people right here that are involved in the game of bowling. That we need you guys and the ideas you have, and that's going to be great for our sport. We need some of us old guys to be sort of maybe still around, but on the outside looking in, and learn from other people. I've always said that my best quality, I think, is the fact that I'm not scared to use your ideas. I've used people's ideas from all across Canada. When I go into a bowling center, I usually take the sheets off their counter, have a look at them, see what they're doing, and if there's anything, I try to use some of them. And listening to other proprietors, talking to other proprietors, talking to bowlers, and listening, you can learn a lot. I don't care how long you've been in the business. I've been in the business like this long, and I still feel I learn when I sit down and talk to you guys, or talk to other bowlers, or talk to other people. And I think the key is don't be scared. Don't be scared to listen, and don't be scared to take a step sometimes. This is a great game. Like, to me, how do I say it? I feel like I'm part of the bowling family, and my bowling family doesn't just go in my centers. My bowling family goes right across Canada. Like, I got best friends in Newfoundland and BC, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, everywhere, even Quebec. Believe it or not. No, it's just the bowling family. Like, I always tell people, they say, well, you can afford to do these things. And I said, well, you know what? My kids started out making more money than I ever made in the bowling business. So it's not because of money. I do it because I love the game, and I've done okay, put my kids through school. They're doing fine. But I think if it's just money, I wouldn't be around now. It's a fact that you love the game and you want to be part of the family. And I honestly feel I could go almost anywhere in Canada, and if I was stuck, I know who I could phone in that province, and I could stay there. That's a pretty nice feeling to have that.
That's a great
I may be all wet. I may get a few phone calls telling me, "Don't call me," but I do feel that way. That sort of sums it up for me. The bowling family, it's awesome.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right, Arnie. I think the best thing that can happen for this game is to continue having it in bowling family, family-owned centers all across the country. It's always been very closely knit, and I definitely think that that's the way it needs to stay. I think bowling centers can evolve and become things like Nebs and be Biggie FECs, but even Nebs is still very much bowling on the forefront. They love the game. That's their passion. They put in all the other things to help support that, but that's their passion. And that's truly how our game is going to stick around forever, is by having the right people in those places. The last thing we want is, some big corporation to jump in and buy a whole bunch of bowling alleys and know nothing about them. That's just going to hurt. But you know what? You've been around this game for so long, Arnie. And, the one thing that we've always said is that out of everybody, there's always times where there's like the old boys club and they get stuck in their own ways and they resist change, or we have to stay this way because it's always been this way. And you've never been that person. You've always been the person that's more than willing to make changes at any point in your life and in the industry or whatever. And you've done a great job, and we're certainly grateful having you involved in the game for as long as you have been.
Well, I hope this doesn't mean I got to leave now, because I was hoping to stay. I'm working on Freedom 85, but this COVID might make it go a few extra years.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like our parents are in the same boat. Yeah.
Lots of comments here too. And like you said, Arnie, when you think of bowling as a family, anywhere you go across the country, that's the first thing I think about is you start talking to somebody. Oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Gatineau. Oh, hey, do you know so-and-so? The first thing I think about when I meet somebody is what bowling center is nearby, or do you know somebody from bowling? It's either junior hockey or a bowling center. And you're right. You can travel the country. You can pick up the phone and call anybody and stay or have a beer or have a dinner. So it's bowling is one big family.
Definitely agree.
All right, Arnie. So we're going to put you in the back room here. You're more than welcome to stick around and talk to us after. We want to definitely pick your brain a little bit more. But we're just going to do our closing segment.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Can I, before I go?
Of course.
Okay. One of the reasons I really like going on this is because I really appreciate all the work you guys have been doing. And not only just on this podcast, but I think the tour is an amazing, amazing thing. It gives our top bowlers something to shoot for. I know we don't have a lot go from the East. I know one of my friends and my bowling center in Fort Francis, Jeff Watts, loves it. I know there's a couple other guys like the Grazi and the boys from Thunder Bay. But it's an amazing event, and I appreciate everybody that all the work they do it for, and the podcast they do it. And everything for bowling, you guys seem to be getting involved in, and I want to thank you all for that. And I'm going to go off now, and I will stop and listen. And thanks very much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Arnie.
Good night, guys.
Of course, Arnie.
Your beauty. Thanks, Arnie.
Love having you on, bud.
Our pleasure.
Wow, another
pretty kind
successful
words.
podcast. Yeah, Arnie's forever giving all the compliments, but I think he deserves it more than we do. He's been a pillar in the bowling community for a long time.
Yeah. You know what I love about him too, though, is that he'll give you the compliments, but he'll give you the jabs. No problems giving the jabs too. Yeah. I love it.
I think. Yeah, talking to Tim, you were saying, Tim, he was like, he's one of the young guys. He's just like one of us, right? And he really is. He speaks very well, as tons of history, open to change. Awesome to have him on for sure.
I think you could still feel the excitement in him.
Yeah.
I think if each proprietor had the passion he does and everything else like that, I don't think our bowling would be as much trouble as we are, right? So kudos to Arnie for all the great years. And then some. Yeah, I know he's in Freedom 85, right? So
I totally agree with you, Charles.
Quick comment to Scott Barber out there. Proprietors should let past champions in tournaments. Think of it like training camp. If you miss training camp, you're not making the team. Sign up on time.
Yeah, get your registration in.
The tour is getting a little big. You need to sign up early.
with when we play the Pro Team League and all three of you guys are playing, maybe we should invite some Manitobans to be guest commentators. I mean,
Absolutely.
For sure.
maybe they need to audition or something first, but we'll see.
I would love to cut him and like bring him on and just cut him.
Oh, sorry, we don't need you anymore. We're just joking.
Little salt on the wound there for Barber and those guys. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I think that they'd all be lining up ready to play. So that's a good idea. We'll get you guys involved.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something Amanda had said a little bit earlier about maybe some minor division or minor league teams and stuff like that. All the teams are still playing. Like a single team is playing together at the same house. It's not like all 6 players are playing in different houses and we're putting together on a team. The teams are built based on area. So,
wow, that would be interesting. Running like 12 streams.
Impossible.
Yeah, to have one. Okay,
Absolutely
your turn.
impossible.
Nope, you can't go yet.
But so just kind of wrap up this podcast and this time frame. So. If people don't know, the 8-gamer is getting close to finalization. We're hoping we're going to be able to run those live streams here within, let's say, a month and a half, 2 months. And the Team Pro League is extremely close. Like all the back end stuff is ready to go. We're just waiting for COVID to let us do our thing.
Yeah. Tim, who do we got lined up here for upcoming podcast?
Next week is Mike and Cheryl Bates. So we're super excited about that. And in the first week in March, Sandy Anderson's coming on. So
Awesome.
really excited about getting Sandy on. So we're really excited having that.
Good stuff.
Perfect.
Keep it coming.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Buy some merch.
Yeah, hit the merch start.
Super comfy.